Could you expect me to rejoice in the inferiority of your circumstances?
I love you. Hello friends, my name is Elizabeth, and today I wanted to share with you a few specific tips on how to write palpable romantic chemistry. The nitty-gritty of writing romantic tension, and writing it in such a way that will make your readers be like, just kiss already. So here we go. Number 1, focus. The 100-yard stare. The look, if you will.
It's beautiful.
If you can master this, it will elevate even the weakest of romantic tensions in your novel. This is something that the love interest does to the point of view character. That's important. Even if you're writing a dual POV, this will be something that the other person will be doing to the POV person, during their chapters. And it is focus. It's a long pause before speaking. It's putting down whatever they're working on in order to fully listen to the protagonist when they're speaking to them. It's building that sense in the protagonist and in the reader that their love interest is paying special attention to them whenever they're in the same room together, even if nothing romantic is happening. Actually, especially when nothing romantic is happening yet between the two characters. Maybe, at first, the protagonist is a little bit unnerved by it, or they feel self-conscious and they aren't really sure why. Maybe they've never been the center of someone's full attention before, and it unsettles them because they aren't used to it. They don't know what they're doing to earn that special attention, but they also sort of like it. It's kind of a warm, special feeling that makes them a little bit more nervous or awkward in their love interest's presence. They don't want to do anything that would make their love interest stop paying such close attention to them. And it takes them the majority of the story to realize that there isn't anything they could do to make their love interest lose interest. Because they're soulmates. Focus. It's in the eyes. And you gotta do it. Your novel has to have it if you want that romantic tension. Number 2, carefully timed gaze changes. This is related to that special focus of a committed love interest, but it includes a noticeable change in the direction of their gaze. The love interest is looking in their eyes, and then just quickly flicks their gaze down to their lips and then back up again. Not in a creepy pickup artist type of obvious way, but in a natural, can't help themselves, probably don't even realize they're doing it kind of way.
Forgive me, madam, for taking up so much of your time.
This could also be a situation where the protagonist straightens their skirt and the love interest keeps their gaze on their hands for just a beat too long before they realize what they're doing and flick their gaze back up to the protagonist's eyes. They won't acknowledge it. The protagonist might not even be sure that it happened. Was he just looking at my hands? But the reader will know that it happened. These carefully timed gaze changes might also happen when a large group of characters are together and they're all talking and one of them says something that happens to be pertinent to the protagonist. And the protagonist catches their love interest, flick their gaze over to them, and meet their eyes. It could be a light moment and the love interest is acknowledging some shared joke they have between them that is now being referenced by the third character. Or it could be a deeper moment where the third character is making reference to something that the love interest worries will hurt the protagonist. So they flick their gaze over to them to check on them. Teeny tiny, but when used correctly, very powerful. Number 3. So, building off number 2, the third way to create palpable romantic chemistry in your novel is to include subtle touch. Now, depending on how slow of a burn you're writing, you probably don't want your two characters to touch at all during their first meeting, and maybe not until their second, third, or even fourth meeting would you start to include small, subtle touches. The key here is small, but meaningful. They also shouldn't be anything overtly romantic, like cupping their face, or hugging, or gripping their hand, or rocking them side to side. Nothing like that. Maybe it would be okay if this first initial touch was the love interest placing their hand on the small of the protagonist's back in order to guide them somewhere, or in order to just pass by them, That might be okay, or it might be too much for a first contact, depending on the pace of your romance. I like to go for something really small, like maybe not even in direct contact with the person. Like think of that moment in the 2005 Pride and Prejudice where Mr. Bingley is walking behind Jane at a party, and he reaches out to touch the ribbon on her dress. She probably doesn't even feel him doing it, but he's doing it because he just can't help himself. He needs to be closer to her and to touch some small part of her, even if it's just a little piece of fabric on her dress. And it's very romantic and not creepy, because we know that Jane is equally enamored with him. They're not strangers. They've known each other for a while. They've never touched before. And he doesn't even touch her then. He just, he touches the ribbon. And it's very romantic. But you could also go with, like, brushing knuckles when they're standing too close together, or accidentally bumping knees when they sit beside each other. Maybe it could be a protective gesture, that first touch. Like the love interest is driving and goes over a big bump, and reaches their arm out to keep the protagonist in their seat. Subtle touch. That's all you want when you're building romantic tension between two characters. I see too many writers try to go full-fledged kissing and hugging and hand-holding every single time the two characters are together. But that just negates all of the tension for the readers. Because it's expected. You know, it's ho-hum, everyday, ordinary type of touch. There's no sparks. There's no feeling of like, oh my god, did he touch me? Was that on purpose? The subtle touches will get you the sparks. As I'm saying these, I realize that some of them sound a little bit creepy. And I would just like to remind you, folks, that I'm not talking about how to build romantic tension between you and another real-life person.
That's it.
Not at all. Oh my goodness. Please don't just go around touching people that you find attractive. Anyway, number 4 on this list is exasperation.
You can handle everyone.
I can't handle you.
This usually is seen done in a detective type setting, like where one of the characters is this gruff, no-nonsense professional, and the other one just shows up in their life, meddling in their work, trying to help, and usually being helpful, but just generally causing like an upheaval in the professional character's life. But since there's chemistry there, even just an undercurrent of romantic tension, the professional character doesn't feel annoyed as much as exasperated. There's a difference. It's a front to hide their true feelings. They secretly like having the other character pop up in and out of their lives, insinuating themselves into their business. This can be a great setting for the grumpy sunshine dynamic, but it doesn't have to be exclusive to detective work. It kind of lends itself to that kind of setting, you know, cop and amateur detective, but it doesn't have to be in that setting. Maybe one of the characters works in a really stiff business type of office, and the other one is the new office decorator, or works at a coffee shop, who starts offering their opinion on the professional person's job. Maybe it starts small and they're just inserting themselves into little conversations here and there while they're chatting over their coffee order or something. And the serious business character starts out by being maybe a little bit annoyed or pretending to be annoyed, but then they start coming around and seeking out the opinion of the coffee worker. You know, do you know what I mean? I love that dynamic. It starts out as annoyance and bewilderment that anyone would insert themselves into their work, and it slowly evolves into them enjoying their encounters and actually seeking out interactions with the other character. Yeah, that's nice. I do like that.
You free to date tomorrow evening?
But we've only just had our monthly dinner.
Oh, I can overlook that if you can.
Tomorrow evening it is then.
Exasperation. It's a good one for building romantic tension. Give it a go. Number 5. Again, building on the last one. Number 5 on this list is comfort. A sense of safety. Probably one that the characters themselves don't even really understand. They just know that when they have a hard day, they want to be around the other person. Even if they don't talk about what happened. Even if they don't talk at all.
Any bones this afternoon?
Like in the previous example, maybe the serious business professional starts going to the coffee shop just to hang out and be around the other person while they're working. Even if they don't talk at all or spend any time together, you know? Just because they find comfort being in their presence. This can grow slowly over time, probably should grow slowly over time, but it could also be something like one character only seeks out physical comfort from their love interest, even if they're like barely friends at that point. Like when something bad happens, they won't let any of their friends hug them except for the love interest. You know, maybe they don't accept physical affection from anyone except the love interest. And they don't even know why, there's just a uniqueness to their relationship, even if they don't really understand it yet at that point.
I wish you wouldn't keep letting me hug you when I get scared. Hey, I get scared and I'll hug you. I'll call you.
Comfort. Number 6. Banter.
Because you know what? Come over to your place and stab a body. That is just freaky.
So banter is a classic piece of advice for writers writing romance. And you know, for good reason. Everyone loves a good repartee.
Was it in the Journal of Forensic Anthropology?
Oh, you know, I forgot to renew my subscription.
But, for me at least, this might not be a popular opinion. But I tend to think that writers can focus too much on banter to the point where it kind of loses its shine. You know, like comfort. I think banter should be the type of thing where there's a uniqueness to the banter between the two romantic interests versus the type of banter they have with everyone else in their lives. You know, there's got to be some kind of specialness to it to make it add to the romantic tension. And I think people like banter so much that that uniqueness tends to get lost along the way. Like sometimes the writer will make it so that the characters have witty banter with every other character in the book. So there's nothing special about it when the two romantic leads banter. You know? And then it can't add to the tension. Or the two romantic leads will start bantering right out of the gate. Like as soon as we meet them in their first scene together. Then, not only is there no build-up, and romantic tension is all about the build-up, but when they start bantering from the very first conversation, then there's no room for that moment of realization and like wonder about the fact that they can banter so easily with this person. You know, and that makes it special. And the protagonist can kind of step back and reflect on the conversation and feel all warm and fluttery and kind of surprised at how fun it was to talk to that person. You know, that's chemistry. And obviously in real life, people can have chemistry with like everybody that they meet in their lives. You know, they could just be good at banter. But I don't tend to like that in books. I may be in the minority. But I want there to be something special about the banter between the romantic couple. Because otherwise it doesn't indicate the romantic tension at all. That's just how they talk to people, you know? Maybe save your best banter for the romantic couple or something. I don't know. But if you're using banter to help build romantic tension, which a lot of writers do because it's fun to do, but then you also give the banter to everybody else in the book, it can't be used both ways. Number 7, trust.
Thank you. Bones said that means a lot.
In order to give your romantic chemistry a strong foundation that your readers can believe in, you'll want to include some scenes that show that trust is being built between the two characters, and also that their trust is not misplaced. This is important. You can't just tell the readers that the protagonist trusts their love interest. You need to show that to us in scene. A good way to do this is to have one character reach out to the other character in a time of need, not knowing that that other character also has something else really big going on in their life at the moment, but that other character doesn't hesitate to help them, even though it disrupts something else big going on in their life. And they won't make a big deal out of it either. They probably won't even tell the other character that by helping them, it made them miss out on something else important in their life. You know, that's a classic example. I enjoy it. But it could also be just something as simple as consistency, like having two characters act consistently towards each other, both in physically being there, but also in never going back on their word, or always being emotionally supportive rather than swinging back and forth between attentive and supportive and harsh and judgmental or the cold shoulder. You know, that would not build trust. You need consistency in words and actions in order to build trust, even without a big demonstration or a life and death scenario. Maybe one character reaches out to the other character in like a little email or something, a text, and then the other character doesn't respond and they're hurt. And then something happens where they feel like they can be vulnerable and be like, kind of hurt my feelings when he didn't reply to my text. And then the other character, instead of getting mad or, you know, defensive, would just be like, oh, I'm sorry, I'll do better. And then they do better. You know, it's so small, so little, but it builds trust. And that's important. And I know I'm using a lot of clips from Miss Scarlet and the Duke, and they now have written the Duke off of the show. But they had such good chemistry, okay? I don't want to talk about it. I'm still using them as an example of good chemistry. If you'd like to learn about my secret method for writing slow burn romance, then click here. You won't regret it.